What's up? Welcome to IDW Comics Transformers Monstrosity from 2013. We will be covering issues 6, 7, and 8 tonight. So let's go ahead and get it started.
All right.
Okay.
Got a nice,
Roll call.
beautiful color of Jetfire.
Yeah. Roll call from the last episode we did, because we always do roll call, which means which Autobots, Decepticons, and other type beings or people were in the previous comic we talked about. I did mess up last time and read 5 ahead of time. So what was in 5 was Autobots, Metroplex, Optimus Prime, Ironhide, Bumblebee, Grimlock, Wheeljack, Perceptor, Ratchet, Jetfire. For Decepticons, we have Scorponok, Thundercracker, Soundwave, Blitzwing, Megatron. For others would be Blaster, Diatlas, Pentius, and the Pre-Junkions. Go ahead, guys.
All right, so as a recap, where we left off, after thousands perish in an Energon refinery explosion triggered by the Decepticon leader Scorponok, the populace of Cybertron decided to bug out, and because they had a shortage of Energon, the refinery that they destroyed was, I think, the last one on Cybertron, so that was pretty much all of their Energon resources. So desperate to find more of the life-giving substance, the Autobot leader Optimus Prime sends Jetfire and a team of scientists to explore the crater that once was Taraxis Refinery. So for Chapter 6, Underworld, story by Chris Metzen and Flint Dilley, art and cover by Olivio Ramondelli, and letters by Tom B. Long, editorial assistants Mario Romero, that's a new person, editor John Barber.
Cool. Good note on which one is new, sir?
Editorial assistant.
Okay. All right.
So this was also published in 2013. So, okay, go ahead.
Sorry about that. Chapter 6, Underworld, as Ramrod just said. While the science team is investigating the ruins of Taraxis Refinery, an earthquake sends them to the underworld of Cybertron. There, they find a pool of raw energon that predates the destroyed refinery by millions of cycles. What will the science team led by Jetfire uncover, and will it lead to the cancellation of the Exodus? Meanwhile, Optimus Prime is curious why all of a sudden the Dinobots would reappear after all this time. He summons Cup to help him to better understand the past and what happened to the Dinobots. Dinobots were formerly known as the Vanguard Covert Strike Force while under Nominus Prime's leadership. All this will be answered and much more. Go ahead, fellas.
Okay, so when we left off, Ratchet was looking at the wall and there was a mysterious shadow, kind of looked like a creature-like head. And here we've got basically all 4 of them exploring together, and there's a kind of a tectonic rumble going on, or maybe a deep growling rumble. Something's happening. So, and they see hieroglyphs on the wall, and looks like cave paintings of different robots fighting a dragon.
Yeah, I've read this multiple times, and we even read it together a little over a year ago. I think it's been. I don't remember that before. I don't know. When I saw it and reread it again, I don't remember seeing that.
Didn't realize Godzilla had an appearance on Cybertron.
Yeah.
One of them looks like some kind of sea monster. Another one kind of looks like Grimlock. The one on the left looks like Grimlock. The other one looks like some kind of sea monster or something.
Yep. Kind of wonder, like, if this is actual Cybertron text, because, the new toy line, Siege and Kingdom and all that, like, that's real Cybertron lettering.
Okay.
Those are real words. And I kind of wonder if they started that back here and continued to use it, or when that exactly started. It'd be just neat to know if this actually says anything.
Right. And this predates, like I said, back millions of cycles. So, and yeah, it looks like the earthquake. They fall down below the sublevel into the underworld of Cybertron right here.
Yep. So
Yeah,
they're standing at the edge of a lava or something.
Yeah, that almost looked like somebody lost an arm and a leg, but I think it was just a big cloud of dust covering.
I saw that, and it looked like Ratchet's arm.
It did.
Yeah,
I think it is.
right there.
Right here?
Yeah, I think they're just covered up by the dust, though.
I think so.
Yeah,
Let's take a look at the next panel.
I didn't see any dismemberment later, so I was like, Reporting is ordered by Prime. Let's see. Oh, this is where Optimus Prime summons Cut, because Prime is very curious as to what happened with the Dinobots and why certain things are taking place. They've been hidden for a long time, and all of a sudden they show up and they commit a crime. As he says, some kind of common thievery heist. So he has a lot of questions, and who else is he going to call? Cup. Cup comes in and he's very modest. I'm not sure how I can help you here. He just considers himself as a regular old grunt.
It's funny because, Cup comes off like he would be the actual general, but he's not. He's, beneath the actual, colonel, I guess. But he's just as wise. And sending him, he describes the team. A 6-man team. We'll get to the 6-man part later. And he's not very imposing. Like, Cup's the kind of like the old man that's seen everything, still a really badass warrior.
Yeah.
But he's non-imposing. So if you would send him after Grimlock as opposed to anyone else, like, he'd be that guy that would sit down and have a cigarette with a distressed soldier and try to ease his mind. Like, if you need to talk somebody off of a ledge, you'd send Cup.
Yeah.
A cigar, maybe.
Cigar.
So before we go on, I do want to say something that's always pretty cool. Old school cool diecast said I do believe his son was watching and listening to us. So that's pretty awesome, man. Go ahead.
How old's his son? Like, do we need to keep the cussing kind of level,
Nah,
a little more kid friendly?
My channel's never kid friendly, never disrespectful, but we continue on as we do. It's random.
We might need to ramp it up.
Oh, okay, yeah. Get him going.
Oh man. So I have a question, Cup. What kind of interaction have we had with him so far?
I know he was at the funeral of Sentinel. I feel like he was in Autocracy for like a hot minute.
Yes, he was in as he did not have any roles or anything. He was background. Okay, correct. Because we know Cup has major roles to play. Major roles.
Yep.
Yeah. So, but
okay.
And this is where we're going to get the story of what happened with the Dinobots.
Yep. And he just describes to Cup what was going on with Grimlock and his bestial stage.
That's what there's the big story arc right here is a lot of their history and what happened.
Yep.
Let's see.
So we got some really nice coloration. When they first fell in, all this was orange. Now it's kind of this purplish orange, kind of the pinkish purple you'd see normal Energon. But I like what they're doing with the color palette in Monstrosity.
Yeah, like you were just saying, it has the same kind of art feel, but the tones are much brighter. I don't want to hash on it. We've already kind of talked about that, but definitely notice that right here and at the beginning with that image of Jetfire.
Yep. So you've got Perceptor and Ratchet. Notice Ratchet does have his arm, so that wasn't just a random arm that had been ripped off.
Definitely looked like a dismembered arm, though, for sure.
Yep. So they're sitting at the ledge, kind of analyzing. There's a rumble, and Ratchet falls in. Ratchet goes nuts and attacks Perceptor.
So when a Cybertronian encounters raw, unrefined energon, has it ever kind of talked about this, the effects of this, or is this kind of first time we're getting it? Because I think it's first time.
Yeah, this is kind of the first time that they cover it, and it's not exactly just raw energon.
Okay.
Like it's raw energon that's slightly deviated.
Okay. I think we'll touch later on that, I think.
Yep. So, and he talks about it was primal, overwhelming my inhibitors. He was only in there for a couple seconds.
Yeah, because he tried to take Perceptor's head off.
Yep.
I remember when I was reading Perceptor's lines in my head, I could hear the actor from the movie.
Yeah. Paul Lighting.
I think that's who it is, but I could definitely hear it in
Eric
my head.
Iding.
Hmm.
No, that's Eric Idle. That's Rekgar. It's
Okay.
Paul Lighting. Yeah.
All right. So just something to note that, there's another person.
I will never not hear that voice. Maybe the one time, in animated, how they use like that Stephen Hawking computer voice for him.
Yeah.
I can see Perceptor always being like that.
Yeah, they gave him the IDW monocle in that too.
Yeah.
But,
So we got company. There's that shadow again, kind of looks like a wing or something.
yeah.
I like how in all of this, Jetfire has kept his mask on. So it's just kind of kept that Gundam-esque look.
Yeah, it's I remember in Stormbringer that we'll be doing later, it was modeled after the classics toy from like 2008 or some shit, 2009,
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But the drawing of it here looks very similar to me.
Yep.
Of him in that toy. Okay,
So then it jumps back to Metroplex, where Cup and Optimus are studying the 6 Dinobots. The 6th one being Scar, the tactical medic.
Yeah.
I believe Scar's alt mode was an Ankylosaurus in just other continuity.
Okay. A Swoop is the recon scout.
Yep.
Grimlock is the field commander. Sludge is the heavy weapons specialist. See, Slag is the close combat specialist. Scar, tactical medic. Snarl would be the demolition specialist.
Yep.
So back in the day, early days, there were 6. We mostly know them to be 5. So,
yep.
And that's kind of some of the problem of why things are happening the way it is. But let's see. So
they were 200 covert missions under the purview of Nominus Prime. So yeah, that was before Zeta, after Sentinel.
Makes me kind of wonder how, like, a wrecker unit. Would you liken them to a wrecker unit? Would you say difference?
Oh man,
yeah, I know that's hard.
Yeah, I think they're a separate thing, but it's kind of like, I don't know, Delta Force or something like that of the Autobots. Or
I feel like at one time they have been described as being the force that's called in whenever they need a tough force like the Wreckers, but they want to sweep it all under the rug and not have to answer to higher command for how sloppy of a job it's going to be. Like I guess if you need the dirtiest of the dirty, you call in this, oh God, what were they called? Like the Thunderstrike Force?
Lightning Coalition. Lightning Strike Coalition.
Yeah. Like it was the dirty job. It's like hiring assassins that are, they keep your credit card on file because you hire them so much.
Before we go on, let's talk about how weak the freaking passcode is for this freaking computer. Primus is the passcode. Okay. Come on now.
Oh my God.
Okay. Oh, something occurred to me. So you're getting ready to find out something that happens here. And I gotta wonder, the time when Grimlock was in the arena, that had to have been before their last mission. So were they going into the arena while they were, also the special forces group?
Oh my gosh, what a
It
good
did,
question.
because that was under Sentinel Prime. These were all done under Nominus Prime, who was directly after Sentinel, and
Okay.
after Nominus was Zeta. So this happened between Megatron Origin and Autocracy.
Okay.
Good question. Good. That's awesome. I love stuff like that. Cool. It's putting all the stuff in, because that's what we're doing with this by reading it in not newsstand order but continuity. It's nice when we drop new pieces in.
Yep. Yeah, they don't touch a lot about Nominus Prime's era, but what they do drop about his era of reign is very important later on in the story.
Okay. So that's what's going on here. We're learning what happened, or a little bit about their history.
Yep. So still looking at the screens, kind of that nice green screen look where it's showing still pics with all the lines and graininess to it. We see basically the Dinobots finding something in subterranean terror bases. Looks like a T-Rex or dragon or something, some sort of weird classification.
Yeah. But
Something attacks them.
yeah. Prior to joining the Vanguard, the team's medic Scar had done research on dynamic alt mode adaptation theory. I wanted to kind of flesh that out a little bit, because it's the first time we're hearing about this dynamic alt mode adaptation, and that is what gets them out of here. They adapted new alt modes in the field. They fought fire with fire. So basically, they were able to take on these alt modes of these creatures.
Yep. Kind of simplest terms, it's almost like the Transformers movies that came out from 2007, how they'd scan a new vehicle and be able to change into that new vehicle. Probably something like that, but probably not near as clean.
Yeah, not all of them. Scar was killed during the battle. Post-action psych evaluation suggested that Scar's violent death snapped something within the team. Overwhelmed with grief at the loss of their comrade, the feeling betrayed by their overwhelmed by grief at the loss of their comrade and feeling betrayed by their superiors. Scroll down, if you would, please. The Dinobots staged a daring escape, and they've been on the run ever since. So, like we said, that is one of the things that messed them up. I originally thought it was really hardest on Grimlock, but I don't think that's true. I think it was very hard for the whole team to handle that, to deal with it.
Yeah. I mean, you kind of later on, you figure out most of the time they're being pushed hard by Grimlock. So it kind of develops a little bit of animosity later on with just how hard Grimlock pushed him out of what they feel is almost a selfish nature.
Right. Because the whole thing is Optimus saw Grimlock transform into something he didn't understand. So as he's talking to Cup right here, he says, they're out there somewhere, Cup. Their alt modes are like ticking time bombs. And Cup says, didn't they have to be put down? Scroll down. Prime says, that would be logical, but my instincts tell me, despite everything that's happened, they just might be soldiers worth saving. So these particular creatures, because the science team is now in the underworld, and they're coming across these creatures down here. They remind me of the creatures from Transformers Prime, the Predacons that were on back on Cybertron. Kind of what they remind me of.
Yeah, very animalistic dragon to robot modes.
Mostly
even in robot modes, they look more like dragons than anything.
Yeah, kind of bony, in my opinion.
Yep.
Good, Ramrod.
Go ahead.
Okay. Continue on, sir.
Okay, so it looks like one of them slashes Jetfire. Several more coming in, and They all kind of look the same, kind of birdish dragon looking.
Yeah. It's just amazing to me how these animalistic Cybertronians, if they have to be Cybertronians of some sort, nature, how these gigantic, strong robots that can take all this punishment and all these millions of cycles of war, and these animalistic creatures can best them so much.
Kind of makes me wonder if they're kind of doing a nod back to I don't remember if it was like this in G1 cartoon or the comic, but I remember in Beast Wars it talks about Cybertron used to have a small portion of organicness to its core. I know the video games had a little bit of that in it, the War for Cybertron video games. I'm pretty sure Transformers Prime covered that a little bit about how their prehistory had organic, like techno-organic, like these things. And it just makes me wonder if these were like natural evolutions of the animals that were before.
Oh, that's why I wanted to touch on that. This is done in 2013, and Prime, I do believe, was done in what, 2011 to 2013.
Yeah,
So,
sounds right.
I think they
One might
definitely
have influenced the other, but I'm thinking that with these guys in particular, that I mean, you're in this environment with this unstable, raw energon that these creatures are just feeding off that, or just getting completely infused with it. Plus, you're in an environment that are over, I don't know, thousands or millions of years of survival of the fittest. So yeah, these are the strongest of the strong that survived right here.
Yep. And if you think of what it was doing to Grimlock, his shape was changing inside out. Like spikes were just coming out of him. You saw what it did to Ratchet, and he described it as regressing and mentally becoming more primal. These could have easily been just random robots, like a robot civilization underground, miners even, that came across this. And upon contact, they never were able to gain sanity again. And this is just what happened. They became dependent on the stuff. So who knows? Lots of theory could go into that.
correct. Yeah.
So let's see.
The bow goes on, and they're trying to. They come up with the idea of busting through the wall to escape out of here, and that's where they find their next obstacle.
That's right. Yeah.
So yeah, they bust through this wall, and then they find something that's over there, some kind of big creature. But this creature is in slumber or hibernation of some sort. Who could have built something this large, this deep beneath the planet's surface? Not all that important right now, Perceptor. Let's just hope there's a defensible position.
Yeah. Wait, look. The beasts.
Wait, look.
Yeah. You stay in the shadows.
Yeah, there it seems. And is that Ratchet or Prowl? That's Prowl, right?
That's
Yeah.
Ratchet.
Yeah, that's Ratchet.
It's
That's
it's their scientist team.
Damn you, Pack.
Yeah,
Pay attention.
they didn't bring any of their heavy hitters or nothing,
Yeah,
or even their weapons, pretty much.
right. I need to pay attention here.
Fine.
But it's a little bit obscure. You'd think they would at least have one weapon specialist down there.
Yeah, but I think at this time they don't even realize what they found in the cave.
Yeah. Okay, so Jetfire gears up into jet mode and takes a nice aerial view of that.
Like, okay. And it says, "What, Jetfire? What did you see? Guys, I think we just stumbled upon a whole heap of trouble." Like, I'm like, what the hell is that? I can't even tell what it is. Like, what the hell is that? Some kind of big city underground, or some kind of a industrial establishment? I'm not sure what it is.
Wait, you can't tell what it is?
Hit me off. Come on, man. Just what is it?
It's Trypticon. See the crest and the head? This is his thigh. There's his claw.
Oh,
See, he's
okay,
curled
okay.
up.
He's like crunched
Yeah,
in,
curled
right?
up.
Yeah, he looks like he's in an egg. He's
Like
curled
a
up.
fetal position.
I didn't know if you were joking, if you were like
No,
kind of
yeah.
leading
Remember
the
when-
audience.
Actually, I want to say that's his tail. Well, the
It
only
is.
part that
It's his
confuses
tail
me
wrapped
is the
around to his
actual-
head.
The part that confuses me is the actual first part that they ran into, because that actually looks like a structure separate from him. This wall that Jetfire flew over.
Yeah, he kind of just goes up and over. Yeah, and it's a giant wall type thing.
Yeah, see what I'm talking about? I talked to you about that earlier today, Briag. I don't always see an image when that image to me is kind of all I saw was a big round object with kind of some cylinders. So
Yeah, okay. I didn't notice this before, but it looks like that wall is all the way around.
This is a whole new thing to talk about because I didn't even have this in. Holy crap!
It is kind of weird what all that is. He's either resting on a cliff with something else down there, or that wall might go all the way around.
What last time we saw him, he was getting his ass kicked by Metroplex.
No, that's not yet.
No, we just saw him. Yeah,
in the past.
Yeah, he fought in Autocracy.
He shouldn't have.
Yeah, I think he did. Okay, remember when Metroplex was awakened?
Yeah, they awakened Metroplex to that crowd of Decepticons. Like they flew him in when they were marching on the Decepticons.
I swear we seen him.
Are you sure you're not thinking of Primacy? Because when we get to Primacy, they have their big duel.
Primacy is next.
Right. It's directly next.
Oh, okay. This is a very good chance that I'm thinking about that. Damn it.
That's got to be it, because Metroplex didn't actually come in on Autocracy until almost at the end.
Yeah, he was the ace in the hole that made the Decepticons flee and the Autobots raise the flag.
So yeah, we get we're getting ready to see not at the end of Monstrosity, then sometime in Primacy, Trypticon gets woken up.
I'm getting some beef in the chat. McDJ says, "Getting Pack a Transformers guide for Christmas." I welcome it. Go ahead, sir. No problem here.
Oh, a what?
A Transformers guide.
Oh.
Because I didn't recognize that. I didn't recognize that was freaking Trypticon crouched over. I can see it clear as day now. I didn't even see his head.
It is a bunch of just shapes with colors, and really, it's kind of hard to make out unless you really just see the claw and the head. Otherwise, it does just look like metal on layers.
Did you ever have Trypticon Pack?
I had the Titans Return one a while back.
Okay. Because, I mean, that kind of had, looking from the side.
I miss images sometimes when they're not in my face, but all right. Let's go on to issue 7.
Yep. This
Business
is
picking
cool
up.
cover.
Yeah, look at this. You got the freaking.
I always like these guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's get hyped now because this issue really picks up. Business is about to pick up, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So that just goes over what we just did. So let's go ahead and go down. So chapter 7, Prey. Story by Chris Metzen and Flint Dilley. Art and cover by Olivia Ramondelli. Letters by Sean Lee. Okay, Sean Lee's new. Editorial assistance by Mariel Romero. Editor John Barber. And this was also in 2013.
So this series was definitely brought out real fast, one after another, because every now and then you get delays. So
I mean, with 12 issues, I would have expected one per month, but it seems like these came out a little bit quicker than that.
If I remember correctly, they were putting these out once a week. Like they pretty well had them written, but they were testing the theory of releasing like 10-page issues every week to keep people interested, keep it rolling. So honestly, I thought it was pretty good. And they were cheaper too. Like I think they were only like $1.50 an issue. Because 2 issues would have ended up being $3, which at the time the comics were like $2.99. Then they raised it to $3.99 later. So I think that was about right. But it gave you something to do every week.
Yeah.
Kept it fresh.
So, Chapter 7, Prey. Megatron has reached his desired destination, the Pillar of Rust. What he finds there both confuses him and will ultimately bring him salvation from the zombie world of Junkion. The only thing standing in his way is not his soon-to-be noticed opponent, but himself. How did Pentius know these events would conspire to take place beforehand? Who is Pentius? Meanwhile, Jetfire reports back the findings they discovered under the Torix refinery remains and the obstacles that face the use of this new energy source. Familiar faces and friends are also reunited. Who is it? Let's go ahead, Jessup.
Okay, so we're scrolling down, we see the pillar. Megatron basically ready to leave.
Yeah, that is such an ominous picture. I would love to have a nice that panel right there. Nice. One? Yeah, I like that.
I bet somewhere online you could find a place to buy that. I don't know if Hasbro or IDW has them for sale, but I bet you could find that without the word bubbles.
Yeah.
Use it as a background.
Now, see, this is what I'm talking about. Yet I see no trace of any functional ships. I see no evidence of other travelers. If you have lied to me, Pentius, led me on some full quest. Patience, Wanderer. You were meant to be here in this moment. For you, destiny opens its arms wide. So we're trying to figure out right now, is Pentius crazy or does he know future events that will happen?
You know, I just developed a third theory on what that is. And Ramrod, I forget how far you had gotten in the comics way back when.
Titans Return and something after that.
I think Combiner Wars is what you told me, Ramrod.
Okay.
Yeah, Combiner Wars and Titans.
I don't think you made it far enough to what I'm thinking of.
Well, it's gonna be a long time. I mean, if he doesn't want to be spoiled, that's fine. We can go ahead, but I'm curious. It's fine if he doesn't want it though.
I don't think that's a Quintesson.
That's
I'll just say that. I think it's someone else that, I don't think it's a Quintesson.
Okay, so these are answers. It's portraying to be one, but all the information we've gotten. So,
and that just may answer my question of why the Quintessons seem so very rare in this universe. Is maybe they only exist when needed to.
And right here we see it. What he predicts happens. All of a sudden, this ship approaches. We know there's nobody's coming in and out of this world. This world is fucked. It's just junk. It's toxic. So for him to know this ship is coming, what's up? How did you intend to capture it? Depleted of energon as you are, you lack the power to change into your formidable alt mode. Perhaps, but I am still Megatron.
I am still Megatron.
That's right. And who comes out of this ship? The freaking Trypticon sent by Scorponok. Now, here's what I wonder, guys. How did Scorponok know Megatron was still alive?
Oh, he dropped him off, and he was living. When he dropped him off, he was just damaged.
Okay, so it's
Also, if I remember correctly, Scorponok didn't send the Trypticons. The Trypticons went specifically to punish, on their own accord, to punish and destroy Megatron for.
I am misinterpreting that. So,
yeah, It was a thing about power. The Terracons crave destroying the most powerful, and when they basically found out that Scorponok didn't end Megatron, they decided they'd go end him themselves.
Ah, so it's
Remember
an
that
ego
scene
thing.
you were
So
laughing at
And
where Starscream makes a stupid joke and Hunger's like, "Shut up, Starscream, or I'll eat you."
right, that was like issue 2 or 3. That was hilarious.
Yeah.
and I think they implied that they might come back and challenge Scorponok too.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think they very much quite did.
Well, I think this is the whole point of it. Not just an ego trip, but if we go there and we end him, we're coming for your ass. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
So using this artwork, I feel like this is the most gruesome I've ever seen the Terracons drawn. I think this artwork works really well for monsters.
Yeah, that kind of looks like a cross between Skylynx and a monster.
Yeah.
That's not Blot? Is that Blot?
Right here is Blot and Center Twin, Ripper Snapper,
Ripper Snapper. Damn it, he's one of my
Cutthroat.
favorites. I should remember that.
and Hunger.
Yeah.
Hunger, depending on what of the three spellings you have.
But we all know that I need a Transformers guide, according to McDJ.
And I don't know if they're calling this Center Twin or Twin Strike, depending on what the name is
Yeah,
patented
but-
right now.
So the fight's on. It's time.
Yep.
Look at that Megatron. Roar. Yeah, stay. You're good.
So yeah, we got Cutthroat and Center Twin, Ripper Snapper, Blot, and they're all arguing over who gets to, do the most damage. Look how big Ripper Snapper is, even compared
I
to him.
know.
Like oh shoot, what's it called? Whenever they mass displacement, whenever they actually shift sizes when they transform, very you can see it in these panels.
Right. And they got him flanked from all sides. They're coming at him hard.
Yep. I mean, look how little Cutthroat is, though.
Now, mind you, he's battling these Terracons. He's on his last leg.
Yep. Yeah, and he's not really having trouble with what you'd consider the smaller ones, the three, I guess, less likely ones. So Ripper Snapper, Cutthroat,
yeah.
Blot takes care of those easy. Center Twin gets him from behind and makes short work of that.
And yeah, we have Pentius just talking trash to him the whole time, like he's trying to get in his head, but he has a motive.
Yep.
Hidden motive, because I think what's getting ready to happen, I think he wants that to happen.
Yep. So, and Hunger gets him by the gut with both feet or both heads, because those are his feet in robot mode. Look how big they are.
Mm-hmm.
If that's not one of the biggest examples of mass displacement. So you've got, basically they pick him up and they throw him. Megatron is being approached by him, and Megatron's leg, he does like this heel kick kind of leg sweep thing and knocks Hunger off balance. Must have been a pretty powerful kick to knock over a double-headed dragon. So
Right.
He's got him down with just a kick.
Yeah, so he's talking trash to him. The beast will recover momentarily. The end is close now. To have come so far to face this incoming death. Megatron says, I just realized, Pentius, you can still be of service to me. And it rips out his spark. Megatron just rips all his spark, bro.
Yep.
And I think, because of the words he says, and as Pentius or Megatron says, your vile spark will provide me with all the power I need. Pentius says, at last, the student becomes the master. You are truly monstrous. Farewell, Pentius. Know that your legacy of hate shall live on in me. So it definitely seems to me that's what Pentius wanted him to do, and that was the outcome. And whatever kind of personal manipulations or motives he has is for this to happen. That's what I feel.
Yep. So
Yeah.
Megatron changing to alt mode. Look how big that tail is.
Yeah. You'll feast on my alt mode. Feast.
So, and it almost looks like Megatron can't change fully, which would be believable since he's using spare parts from the ground, but he can change just enough to have 3 cannons pointed at him.
Yeah. So now, yeah. Look at the action picking up.
Yep. So he transforms while stumbling down a hill. You can see how small he gets after he transforms. Got a big old hole in his chest. I've never seen Hunger drawn without a mouth.
Me either. When I saw that, I'm like, who's that supposed to be? And I'm like, wait a minute. That's supposed to be Hunger?
Yeah. So back to Metroplex with the scientist team. So they're filling Prime in on what's down there.
They don't really have an option. They don't really have an idea of what they're going to do yet. It says, apparently the Knights had it sealed down there for a very long time, sir. If we try to refine or even siphon out that energon, we run the risk of waking it. And they're referring to the monster that they encountered that is kind of in hibernation or whatever, that the other creatures were scared of.
Yeah. It's kind of odd to me. I feel like when you see this and they know it's like a giant mechanical being, you'd almost think that they would consult Metroplex because of how old Metroplex is, just to see if he knows what or who that is.
It's almost like they use him very sparingly because, like you said, the amount of energy spent just in anything he does is astronomical.
Yeah. Yeah, and later on when they get to the point where you've got like Windblade and she's a city speaker and she speaks to Titans and stuff, it seems like it takes a lot of their energy to even be able to focus to speak one-on-one with another robot. Like they're just constantly calculating and almost like their processors are running the universe or something.
Yeah, it's like when you work, okay, if you do manual labor, you wear down. But if you do a job that requires a lot of mental activity, that wears you down just the same way. So, yeah, that would be my reason as why they don't. Because I remember was it Autocracy, Optimus Prime, after he was reformatted and became the Prime, he approached Metroplex and was very like, hey, type of, I know that this is not something I can do very often, but I'm calling upon you now to help.
Yeah. Yep. I remember him basically asking him to get up and help this one time.
Yeah.
Like,
so I was right with that one. I remember some stuff. Yeah. So let's see where we're at now.
Debating about waking up the monster. Survival odds are 1 in basically a million.
Yeah. That's where I started hearing Perceptor's voice. That's the section right there.
Yep. And we've seen worse odds, haven't we?
And just look at Prowl, knowing kind of what he becomes and what he is, and just kind of how he's acting. I remember when he was Sentinel Prime's lackey, he was a little more arrogant, but he seems kind of a little more docile now.
Well, that's Ratchet.
Oh, dang it. See, I need a book. I need a Transformers guide.
Dude, it's the crest.
Wait, we've seen Prowl in this series tonight, haven't we?
He helped bust in with on Scorponok and them at the refinery.
Okay, all right.
So we have seen him.
Yeah, Prowl's in here somewhere. I know I've seen him.
Okay.
Although I swear that I don't blame you for thinking the one on the right was Prowl, because I normally recognize Ratchet by the crest and the chest, and then the right
and
didn't have the
they've
chest.
drawn Prowl's head exactly like this before.
Yeah, but to the left, it's clearly and obviously Ratchet.
Right.
So, dweep. Now, whom do you serve, Decepticon? You, Lord. So, Hunger immediately ceases his will to Megatron.
Yep. It's almost like he was there to make, like, they would either destroy Megatron or they knew that Megatron was going to prove he was the mightiest.
Yeah. It says right here, you and your cohorts will serve me as I reclaim what is rightfully mine. Leadership of the Decepticons? Of course. Scorponok has claimed leadership for himself. I know it. I know it. He that marooned me here. His reign will be short-lived. Haha, waiting for that, man. I get geeked up, man. I've always said that I thought this is a story of many things, but one of the things that it is a story of Megatron.
Yep.
And he's kind of gauging what the Decepticons like. Do you fear him, Hunger? Fear his power? Ha, no, I pity him. You are more terrible than ever. He doesn't stand a chance. And that's when he tells them, gather your warriors. I have a world to get back to and a throne to reclaim.
Yeah. And it's kind of weird because they color this same off purple as what his deceased body is, almost like they're trying to portray a little bit of his vileness in Megatron.
I think you're exactly right. I think the reason why they show that is, hey, this guy is going to play a part still. And I just remember from before, it does play a little bit of a part coming up. So let's see. Radiation wastes. This is when Optimus sent Cup out to look for the Dinobots. That's what's going on right here.
Yep.
Cup does
kind of a neat coloring too, like the bluish green against all this ash.
Yeah. He does locate Grimlock, and they have some exchange back and forth. And Cup is very understanding of what he's been through and what he's gone through, and he tries to talk him into coming back.
Yep, he doesn't want to leave without his team, but they just happen to be pretty handy.
And we find out right here that they are not destroyed. The Dinobots are still alive.
And it is something coming from Slag. Maybe this Optimus can help us. He's like the last person that puts trust in anyone or even any kind of faith. He's always got it in Grimlock, but for him to trust anyone else is kind of a big deal.
Right. Just kind of a thing that we're going to lean towards more of. What kind of trust does Optimus have with his peers in the civilization? Go ahead.
And it's also, a measure of, they're desperate because they're tired of being the way they are. They're desperate for some kind of change or resolution or relief.
Constantly being oppressed and put down because you're not of the upper tier. You don't have as much money or as the other, the other civilians. So definitely. So that brings us to issue 8. The last issue we will be covering tonight.
Yep. So you got a picture of Optimus's face and all the shuttles leaving, as they were talking about with Diatlas and wanting to get off the planet.
It's like I said, they have been exiting since issue 5.
Yep. So, and that kind of leads up later on. They talk about all the colonies that are out there. Some ships, got out there. So who knows how many?
Correct.
Yeah, and I appreciate Optimus's stance on this. Like, hey, we can't leave until we've exhausted all hope. But honestly, the more that leaves, the less it is a burden on Cybertron.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't, and Optimus supports both, but he kind of also makes them admit that, if you're going out there alone. If you're here, I can at least try to help you.
Right.
So at least there's a mutual understanding, even if it's a rough one.
Big Stan, what up?
So here we are with Chapter 8, Massacre. Story by Chris Metzen and Flint Dilley. Art and cover by Livio Romandelli. Here we go. Letters by Tom B. Long. He's back. editorial assistance by Mario Romero, editor John Barber. And hey, we're in June now, June 2013.
Okay.
So the roll call for the last issue we just did for the Autobots will be Wheeljack, Optimus, Jetfire, Ratchet, Perceptor, Cup, Grimlock, Sludge, Slag, Swoop, Snarl, Megatron for the Decepticons, Megatron, Center Twin, Hungar, Cutthroat, Ripper, Snapper, Blot. Others would be Pentius and Trypticon. And that brings us to Chapter 8 Massacre. As the Exodus takes place, less fortunate citizens are worried they will be left behind, and hostile attitudes start to overtake the crowd waiting to leave the planet. With growing concerns of a riot, Prime is called in. Will Optimus Prime grant compassion to those scared, or will he feed into the narrative that all Primes are there for their own personal gain and greed? If that isn't enough for the Autobots to have to deal with, Scorponok has sent the Decepticons to slaughter any and all at the site of the Exodus. Go ahead, sir.
All right. So they give us a big picture of the Exodus actually happening, kind of close up, space dock. Everyone's just kind of flying out of here. And you've got Prowl, manning the gates, kind of trying to keep things orderly. Blaster's doing interviews with bots. They're talking about credits to actually get off. And they're talking about the unfairness because some of them don't have credits and they're going to be stuck there for days. So kind of interesting that money is still playing a part in them getting off planet, even though there's nothing there to spend money on.
There's no worth. Planets turning to shit. So yeah, there's no worth of anything.
Yep.
So are we talking about a Cybertronian credit, or is there more of a galactic credit? Because I don't quite understand that at this point.
I'm not real sure, but I think it has more to do with Cybertronian credits, because if I understand correctly, Nova Prime tried the whole Manifest Destiny out into the rest of the universe, but I could have swore the rest of the Primes and everyone else and Omega Supreme and all that were basically, we're on this planet, we're staying right here. And none of the other ones tried to reach out the way Nova Prime tried to expand. So I'd make a wide assumption that credits means Cybertronian credits.
I would like to know if we'll maybe get an answer to that, but yep.
Yeah, because you never know, because there is always Swindle, and he is never just on planet.
Yeah, and it also seems like if it were more of galactic credits, then it would have meaning. But like you said, if it's Cybertronian credits, are they going to take that credit base out with them and still use those credits as money?
Yeah,
that seems weird for colonists, basically.
Yeah,
we're going to go out and probably get into separate places.
Yeah, right. It's like going over to another country and trying to pay them in bottle caps.
Blaster's, what does he call it? Stars Reach. That's let's see.
It's at the top here. Yeah, Iacon, Stars Reach Spaceport.
Okay, all right, got you. That's where he's broadcasting from.
So, and he's interviewing somebody that looks like Blur, but I know that's not Blur. That's
right. He does look like a lot like Blur. We covered that spotlight. Wow.
Yeah.
He doesn't name this guy.
Yeah, and he's talking about the Prime's corruption, abandoned despotic rule.
So they're thinking, here we go again. Just like with Megatron Origins, the less fortunate we're going to be automated. You know what I mean?
Yep. So in this one over here is like, we don't trust you zealots anymore. So if it's got the name Autobot or Decepticon on it, they're done with it.
The perception of both sides from the civilians is very poor.
Yep. So yeah, Blaster got an earful. Okay.
But I feel like he's used to it. He does these things.
Oh yeah. So now you got Prowl and Springer here.
Oh,
freedom of the press, Prowl.
Don't know if we've seen Springer before. I feel like maybe we have once. I think.
Maybe.
Let's
Might
let
have
that
been
marinate.
Might have been a side character.
Hmm.
So back to
So-
Kolkilar with Scorponok and Starscream doing his normal side prodding to Scorponok that he always did to Megatron.
But I feel like he was right. I feel like Scorponok's a little ignorant in this situation. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Because
yeah.
Scorponok's like, see how quickly the common bots scurry in the face of adversity? I despise them. And
Yep.
Starscream says, you're just surprised by this, Scorponok? You blew a hole in the side of the planet and burned most of their remaining energon reserves. What did you expect would happen? So I kind of agree with Starscream, and I kind of feel like Scorponok just is not a very good leader. This guy is a brute at max.
Yeah. It's one thing to get sarcastic jabs from Starscream, but when he's like laying down truth, it gives you a little bit of perspective.
Yeah. Many shall remain. Diatlas. And I think this is the part coming up where Diatlas and Optimus have their exchange. But this guy looks like Bulkhead. He probably
It
is, I
is.
think, because
It
we
is
saw
Bulkhead.
Bulkhead in Autocracy.
Yep. So kind of a tall section to read, but you basically got Scorponok and Starscream going back and forth. And of course, Scorponok, being a little bit chaotic as he is talking about the pillars of society shall fall, strip away. They're going to cull the weak. So he's going to turn it into just a giant coliseum of fighting.
Yeah.
And you got Diatlas talking about his circle of light going to a new world, peace and harmony. Bulkhead being more of a reality check, real magnanimous of y'all, Atlas, but most bots can't afford to just relocate.
Yeah, he resigns from Prime's convocation. I'm trying to remember what it's called, something convocation. That's Prime's unit.
Resign from this convocation.
There's a word. There's an official word for the convocation. Go ahead, Ramrod. Were you going to say something?
Oh yeah, I was just going to say that again. We can see the extent of Scorponok's plans here. I mean, there's nothing grand about what he's trying to do. He's just a chaotic mess of desire that is changing with the situation.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just he never got out. He never got out of the fighting pits in his mind. It's just he thinks you can solve everything like that, and you cannot. There's a lot of tact in leading. It doesn't matter whether if you're leading for good or evil. So,
yep. And you got Optimus talking about the hope in the raw energon, and Atlas retorting back with, it causes madness, uncontrollable fits, kind of fear mongering in a way. He doesn't want to give any kind of hope because his mind is set, get people off planet.
He thinks this whole refining energon is a bad idea and are using this energon that they found in the pool.
Yep.
Let's see.
And that's so when emergency signal from Prowl. That's Bumblebee talking.
They call him in because I think they're scared of there's going to be a riot.
Yep.
And let's see. So this is when Diatlas is trying to get in his head where it's everybody's kind of against you.
Yep. Atlas is really rubbing it in his face as much as he can about just how much not control Optimus has of any of the situations.
This is part I'm talking about. You and your Autobots showing up armed may cause an even greater panic. Stand down, Optimus. Let the riot burn itself out. You resign from this convocation. I'm all done listening to your advice. Autobots roll out.
That is an interesting perspective, because riots don't tend to burn themselves out a lot. They usually take some sort of answer, because when people riot, they're looking for an answer and they're panicked.
Yeah, that seems very, on point, especially in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Well, roll your eyes. His eyes are still red, Briag.
Yeah, I noticed that. I noticed in the last couple panels and stuff, eyes are red. So maybe Diatlas just has red eyes.
It's always been an indication of faction, unless I've missed something. But
Yeah, generally blues and yellows kind of stay with the Autobots, and then, well, there's been reds and yellows in the Decepticons as well. So who knows? I mean, it may just be a little bit of a preference choice. Like these are all Dinobots, so they used yellow on them. Maybe it's just a little bit of artistic preference. Maybe.
Yeah, they want to go help, and they're like, no. We said we turn ourselves in. What we're going to do? You do what you have to do. We won't be a problem. Glad to hear it. But they want to go help, but the perception is no, we got to keep these guys away from this.
Yeah. One wrong fist could make any of them explode.
Yeah, and go into their alt mode, and their alt modes it's just more than anyone can handle. And that's when the crowd acknowledges it's him. It's the Prime.
Yeah.
Don't do anything rash, Optimus.
Can't help notice that Diatlas said, "Don't go down there. You'll make it worse." Yet he's down there.
Well,
he just wants to watch the world burn.
The civilian population thinks very differently of Diatlas than they do any Prime or Autobot or Decepticon.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the crowd is getting really restless. Please calm down. We're not here to. You damn Autobots think you can push us around. You can't control us. We've had it with you Primes and your police state. You can't stop us all. And that's when it looks like somebody throws something and hits them.
Looks like a briefcase.
And that's
he's about to throw down.
And that's when the civilians start shitting a brick. Oh, Primus. No, you did it. He'll kill us all. Run. It's every bot for himself, because they're used to that from this leadership. You know what I mean?
Yep.
That's when Prime says there's been enough hate, enough distrust. I'm not going to hurt you. None of my officers will stop you from leaving, but you will remain calm through the checkpoint. There will be no more threats, no more outbursts. I won't have you endangering each other any further. This is the point I wanted to make a little bit ago. Scroll down.
Oh, down?
There you go. Go on down to the next panel. Over. Sorry. Freedom is your right. I believe that with everything that I am. And if it is not your wish to leave, if you care more, okay, hold on a second. If it is your wish to leave, if you care more for your own personal safety than the greater welfare of our society, then go. Better you're gone than remain here as part of the problem. That was a very, like, remember we're talking about when Prime said, shut up.
Yep.
This is a very aggressive, like, okay, if you're going to be weak and you want to stay and help and you want to be selfish, look out for yourself, then haul ass.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a very succinct and politically correct fuck on off out of here.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that.
Yep. It's like don't stay behind to be whiny cry baby bitches. You're gonna stay, you're gonna like help be a solution.
That is, though. He was a police officer for the Senate. He still has a little bit of that raw roughness to him. He's still going through that change that makes him the better leader that he becomes. So that's when freaking Diatlas starts freaking kissing his ass, whatever, you know. Oh, it was very difficult for you, but the right decision for them.
I don't know if it was kissing his ass. I felt like this was more of a passive aggressive, see, I'm right, but I'm acknowledging it by saying you did the right thing.
I'm going to go with what you said.
It just seems, it does not seem friendly.
It's passive aggressive. You're right, all day long.
Exactly. He's not complimenting her or anything like that. He's still being a dick.
Yeah.
Diatlus is much of a dick, and I kind of wonder what he's got kicking, because he doesn't seem on the up and up to me, man.
Yeah. Thankfully, you do get to learn more about Diatlus later.
Right now, I'm just getting that vibe. Like, you come across as a condescending savior, prick, fuck, but you just right now, I'm picking up on that, bro. Something ain't right with you.
Yeah. He almost makes me feel like like in a way, like a religious leader that really doesn't know the situation any better than, let's say, Prime as a political leader, but he's going to say he's better because maybe his thought process is more divine or something. Like, I don't know. It just, he definitely has a superiority complex.
Right. What is the matter with you? What? And he says, "What is the matter with you? These people look up to you. They need your leadership now more than ever, because Diatlus is going to leave, and Prime thinks, hey, he could do some positiveness. And they shall have it, but not here. Cybertron is over. Your war is over. The sooner you realize that, the better." Prime says, "Fine, then go. Build your glass utopia at last. Maybe they're hidden away from reality. You can live with your hypocrisy." Diatlus, hypocrisy? Optimus, the ancients believed that the Matrix granted great wisdom to those who proved themselves worthy enough to carry it. Primus, help us all, that it chose you. So just some more trash talk, and just some more, like you just see their tensions building, you know what I mean, back and forth. Like it's like kind of died down, and now they're back at each other again.
Yeah. Yeah. Like you'd look at this and you'd think it's like just bickering. But with what Atlas says, the Matrix granted great wisdom, you don't know how much truth there is in this center panel. Like, I know it's just Prime spitting a little bit of hate, but this is actually truer than most people realize.
Uh-huh.
You can leave my spaceport now.
Just more Optimus being raw dogging it.
Yep.
Good, Ramrod.
Yeah, I love that parting comment there.
Yep. You have my permission to get the fuck out.
Yeah, like Tombstone. You may go now. Oh, hey, we got Hound over here, bro.
Yeah.
Looks like I missed all the action. You did, because we ain't seen your ass in a while, bro.
I think that was Cup talking. I think the bubble's coming from
Okay.
Cup.
I see Hound over there, and we ain't seen him in a while. So
yeah, he's just kind of, hey, what's up?
Yeah, like I said, I apparently need to buy me information booklets, brochures about Transformers.
He's probably still salty about Megatron shooting him off that cliff whenever he took Sentinel down.
Hey, Hound's got a nice head on him, bro. Oh man.
All right, so he's brought the Dinobots in. That was the main goal.
Yeah. This is when Optimus says, "Grimlock, right? I'll be honest, your timing could have been better, but I was hoping Cup would find you. I appreciate you and your team surrendering peacefully. It's past time we paid for all the deaths we've caused," Prime says. "You're referring to the refinery explosion. It was Scorponok that," Grimlock says, "it started before that, long before that." And this is when we get the finishing story of what happened. You want to summarize this a little bit so I don't read every damn panel?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. They're surrounded. They're stressed. Scar had rigged their alt modes. It was basically a test functionality, basically to match ferocity. They turned into monsters, and Grimlock couldn't control it, and he killed Scar, like flat out. And it says right there, "I killed my best friend." So even more salt in the wound that this character that we have barely any development on was Grimlock's best friend. So that's a whole other story that I wish we could have gotten.
Yeah, because I don't believe.
Why it seems that it always had hit Grimlock the hardest is that he's the one that actually killed his best friend, while it hit the others pretty hard, it seemed to hit him the hardest.
Yeah. I wish there was, like you said, I wish there was more media around this Scar Dinobot character.
Yep. Just more around this series. God, I wish they wouldn't have ended this series. I would have been happy if they would have went back and touched up some in-betweeners.
Hey, we live in an age now where you can speak it into existence. So
Yeah.
we're out here saying, let them know. You can go back and touch on some stories and finish some things up or delve into more.
I'm going to write my own fan fiction. I'm going to get it popular, and then I'm going to oust them. Like, no, it's my official reality now.
Yeah, they need to know that, hey, they know that there's more that they could do.
King of lore. I make the lore.
King of lore makes all lore now.
All right. So now we got the shuttles getting gunned down by the Seekers.
Yep. And now business is about to pick up because Scorponok has a new freaking plan that's probably going to backfire in his face.
Yep. Optimus secretly in his head is like, yeah, screw you, Atlas.
Hey, Atlas. Hey, buddy. Hey, Atlas, buddy. Hey, pal. Hey, friend. Screw you.
There's my favorite Decepticon, Blackwall.
Oh man, he's a boss. Looks like he has a freaking power socket for a head.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So yeah, they're coming in and just killing. That's all they're doing. Just killing. It's the orders. Orders of the day. Kill all humans. Kill all robots.
And Shockwave says, I find this all highly inefficient. This reckless slaughter is not something Megatron would have condoned. Brazen and wasteful. You know?
Yep.
Agreed. Operational soundness flawed.
I like it when Shockwave and Soundwave get together and discuss things.
Yeah. It's a very logical, illogical.
What's funny is I feel like they wouldn't even have to talk because since Soundwave can technically read brainwave patterns, I kind of wonder if he ever tries to read Shockwave and like if it makes sense or not.
It probably, yeah, exactly. So Grimlock, are you all right? Grimlock, kill. Get a hold of yourself, Dinobot. Remember who you are. So he's trying to go to the dark side.
Yeah. So he's changing some tail-like thing. He just whipped one in half.
Hostile, unclassifiable.
I'm wondering if this is where Shockwave decided he was very interested in the Dinobots.
Probably.
Oh,
yes. Okay. Man, y'all killing it tonight. Because we know that's played later.
Yeah, because they get together later.
Yep.
Oh, they get together key for epic battle, bro. Good night.
Yeah, so Blitzwing's unloading. He's got this kind of not a T-Rex mode, but just a T-Rex-ish type bipedal dinosaur sail fin type.
So yeah, it needs to be noticed that is Grimlock's alt mode.
Yeah. Just kind of a dragon mixed with a T-Rex mode. Just very primal.
Just a dragon shit with a T-Rex type deal.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. What do we do, Prime? How do we stop it? I don't know.
I don't think you do stop it. And that will end Chapter 8. Like I said, this series is definitely action-packed. It's not slow by any means. Let's see. Does anybody have any questions in the chat before we make like a baby and head out? What do y'all think about? We had our thoughts on the last episode. I just think the story is getting better and better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like I like this whole deal about fleshing out the Dinobots. One of my favorite teams. So, I like the IDW's take on it. and a lot more character. And I can't wait to see more of it.
This series never gets old for me.
No.
God, I don't even remember how many times this is I've read through this. 7, 8, 9. I don't remember anymore.
So with that being said, have you? I know the answer to this, but to people, you just told people you've read this over and over, and you still enjoy reading it. Did you uncover something that you never realized before tonight?
This kind of shallow, but Scorponok's eyes not being lit up after he got punched.
But that's what I'm talking about. It's something. When you really enjoy a story, you'll dig into it. You'll want to know the details. You know what I mean? Because a good story is not meant for a one-time pass.
Yep.
So as we're doing these shows, even Ramrod, even somebody as high class as Briag 45, the king of lore.
High class.
Somebody as high class as
Somebody
king
is
of
high.
lore still finds things that he didn't realize before. I find stuff a lot, but I haven't read it as much as you. I think this is my fourth time reading through this segment.
Well, each time I reread something, I'll find out, something a little bit different. And I think we've already discussed some of it. Anytime we brought up a point, that's something that I didn't realize before. But I think just an overall critique so far of the series. I agree that it's really strong. The weakest part of it, I think, is Scorponok. I mean, he is this basically, chaos, bad guy trope in a nutshell, and can't wait to get Megatron back. So,
yeah, it is interesting because if we consider everything that Scorponok does later, you'd think he'd want to take all those spare body parts and have a plan for them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think there's more thought into his character later than there is now.
Yeah. Almost
wait a
like
minute,
they
though.
just used him as a placeholder to get beaten down by Megatron later.
Wait a minute, though. His character development has already happened. This is 2013. His character development happened way back.
So,
like, you mean continuity wise, or
yes, they wrote this in retrospect to the stuff we're talking about that he did coming up.
Yeah,
right? So, which means they had an advantage because when they wrote Spotlight Ultra Magnus, where he started his machinations and went all the way through the Infiltration, Escalation, Devastation series, and it kind of ended. And then later we get all this prequel stuff. They could have written Scorponok to even have a prequel to all the machination stuff he was doing, but instead they just wrote it off as just kind of the standard trope. I'm going to overthrow you, and then we're going to live by survival of the fittest.
Right. You're just going to produce absolute chaos, and that's all we're here for.
And it may be because this is really more of a story about Megatron and other things happening, but they could have definitely thrown in a few word bubbles about Scorponok having some other plans for like building things with those bodies or experiments, because he is kind of he is pretty brilliant as a scientist. He just lets his ego always step in front of him.
Yeah, you would not think that he's a scientist by any means, because he's just acting dumb as fuck right now. So
yeah,
but it is shown later that he don't get discouraged if this is the first time you're through. He has his character development changes later on. So
yeah, he's a different character later.
Yeah, and very interesting. It's very interesting. So right now he's just a whipping boy which is good because not most people are when it comes to Megatron.
Yeah. And you might be able to look at this and be like, maybe this is what caused Scorponok to go out on his own and actually start creating his machinations to overthrow Megatron. Maybe
Yep.
that's the end game. Maybe he got his last whipping boy that he could stand, or maybe he didn't like the chaos so much, or who
Maybe
knows.
he got some sense beat into him.
Yeah. He had an epiphany.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. By Megatron's right fist and his
Yeah.
left fist in his knee and his alt mode right through his chest.
Yeah. Better than Ramjet fared later on.
Oh man. Oh good lord.
Someone that really thinks he planned ahead.
I saw that coming a mile away. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. This is like a freaking CD list character. You're going down hard, bro. Like
Yeah.
epically.
Yeah, that's one of those comics that it's kind of a little bit of filler. It's still funny, but they
is.
could have shown like the first couple pages of him talking all big, and then the last page.
When we get there, we need to make some memes or something because it's just like, man, you were just you were slaughtered, lamb to the slaughter, bro. They just,
And Skywarp just let it happen.
I would too. I'm like, who is Ramjet? Really? Come on, man.
But it did contribute later because Megatron scattered his parts across the globe, and then humans got a hold of it, and then they had Cybertronian tech.
Yeah, it's
So
all
it
part,
did push the narrative.
yeah, all part of the scheme. But while it's happening, fun as hell. Me being a fan of Megatron, I just thought, I like where this is heading. I can see where it's going.
Yep. I would have loved to see. It's neat to see that he took him apart quickly, but
Because sometimes he
you just
won't.
want to see Megatron brutally take him apart.
Yeah, because sometimes he won't. You know what I mean? Sometimes
Yeah.
he won't do it fast.
Yeah, when we get to All Hell Megatron, that's when one of my favorite fights happens, like between Megatron and Devastator.
Right, and I love the character development for Frenzy and Rumble. There's a lot of raw stuff in that.
Yep.
So we don't have any questions. We've been talking a while tonight, so we're gonna go ahead and get out of here. And thank you to everybody who listened and watched. We'll try to go through. We got McDJ as always. McDJ is a 3 Live Banger, Big Stan, Galvatronics. Let's see, Lucas Kruger, Inutabi. What's up? I didn't even see Inutabi was there.
Input was in.
Yeah, Input was in. He probably fell asleep because he's an old man. Curtis Schultz. I'm sorry if I
Cordelli
missed.
Ambrose?
Who?
Cordelli Ambrose?
Oh, I think that's some sort of a deal. It doesn't have a freaking internet icon address to it or something. But anyway, whatever. We're gonna be out of here, and we're gonna do these shows on Tuesday. May not be every week, but they'll be on Tuesday nights, and we're gonna keep rolling. Next time we'll be back with more Monstrosity. After that will be
Primacy.
Primacy. What's after Primacy?
Some spotlights.
Some spotlights. That's
And
when
I
we're
think
gonna,
the ROM series.
the ROM series.
Well, there's Spotlight Thundercracker right after Primacy. That ought to be interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, it's very strange. Like, okay, Thundercracker got a hair up his ass too. But anyway, I digress.
That one's interesting though. Well, and that's some foreshadowing, I think, too. So
Yeah.
can't wait for that.
Kicks off the big Titan hunt.
Yeah. All right, man. Thanks to Ramrod, Bragg 45, everybody. I appreciate y'all stopping by. And with that being said, everybody just be